Welcome to Corporate Warrior, the podcast that brings you the best advice on how to improve your health, optimize performance, and maximize productivity. With your host, Lawrence Neal.
This episode is brought to you by ARX, the most innovative, efficient, and effective all-in-one exercise machines I have ever seen. I was really impressed with my ARX workout. The intensity and adaptive resistance was unlike anything I've ever experienced. I love how the machine enables you to increase the negative load to fatigue target muscles more quickly, and I love how the workouts are effortlessly quantified. The software tracks maximum force output, rate of work, total amount of work done, and more in front of you on screen, allowing you to compete with your previous performance to give you and your clients real-time motivation. The ARX uses a computer-controlled motor to give you the exact amount of resistance your clients need 100% of the time. This means that the resistance can never become dangerous, is intuitive and simple to use, and can provide you with all of the results you and your clients are looking for in a fraction of the time. ARX is highly effective and efficient in delivering all of the benefits of exercise, including increased strength, muscle mass, cardiovascular conditioning, bone mineral density, and injury recovery. As well as being utilized by many high-intensity trainers to deliver highly effective and efficient workouts to their clients, ARX comes highly recommended by world-class trainers and brands, including Bulletproof, Tony Robbins, and Ben Greenfield Fitness. To find out more about ARX and get $500 off install when you place an order, please go to arxfit.com and mention Corporate Warrior in the How Did You Hear About Us field. So again, to get $500 off install when you order, head on over to arxfit.com and enter Corporate Warrior in the How Did You Hear About Us field. Hey guys, I am Lawrence Neal and welcome to another episode of Corporate Warrior, the podcast that shows you how to get the most out of your high intensity training and start and grow your strength training business. My former guests include the who's who in high intensity training, including people like Dr. Doug McGuff, Drew Bay and Jim Flanagan, paleo pioneers, those guys Mark Sisson and Rob Wolf, diet and metabolism expert Dr. Ted Naiman, carnivore Dr. Sean Baker, successful strength training entrepreneurs like Luke Carlson and Adam Zickerman, high intensity training bodybuilders, sports scientists, productivity experts, and everything in between. Quick announcement, Corporate Warrior and Hit Uni are offering you a saving of 15% off high-intensity training courses and 60 days free access to the Corporate Warrior membership, where I help you grow your strength training business. If you're interested in improving your personal training skill set, upgrading your team, starting or improving your strength training business, this is a great opportunity for you. This offer is only available till the end of July, so head on over to hituni.com/CW and check it out now. Please note that the 60-day free access to the Corporate Warrior membership is only valid if you purchase a master, personal trainer, or CPD high-intensity training course. It is not available with the DIY high-intensity training course. So once more, head on over to hituni.com/CW and check it out now. Today's guest is Ali Watts. 6 years ago, Ali left the corporate banking world in Sydney, Australia to follow her passion, helping people transform their bodies and minds through fitness and nutrition. She began her journey as a personal trainer and yoga teacher, and now amongst other things, such as being a badass fit chick, Ali recently moved to Manhattan, New York from Hong Kong, and she runs a quickly expanding health coaching business, employing other health coaches, is an owner of a strength and conditioning gymnastics studio called transformgst.com, and assists other business owners in the fitness and health industry to take their business to the next level. You can contact Ali over at ali.fitness. A few months back, I appeared on Ali's podcast, Ali Fitness, and had just an awesome time. She asked great questions. We had a great conversation and we really hit it off, and just really enjoyed talking with Ali. And I come to learn, and she gave me a lot of advice, offline after we'd finished, in terms of how to improve my own business. And I come to learn just how excellent she is at both online and offline fitness businesses. Some of my members in the Corporate Warrior membership have been asking how can they add online services and sell things like fitness products online. How do they do that? What's the best way to do that? How do they make sure it converts and things like that? So really, this podcast guest, I was prompted to reach out to them on behalf of those members to try and create some content of value that they would find really, really useful. Because I know that they're keen to just add more online products and services to their business to create additional revenue streams. So in this podcast, Ali explains exactly how she went from working in the corporate world to growing a fitness business, which she was then able to scale and automate online. And she shows you how to find more revenue in your business, in your existing customer base. She's a really, really impressive person. Her journey is really interesting. I think you're really going to enjoy this one and certainly find it very inspiring if you're looking for some inspiration and ideas and how you can grow your business online. And now I give you fitness entrepreneur Ali Watts. Ali, welcome to Corporate Warrior. Pleasure having you on the show.
Awesome. Thanks, Lawrence.
It's good that we're finally talking because I know it took us some time to schedule this in the diary, and I've been excited for a while to learn more from you because after I got to interview, or you interviewed me last time, got to have an amazing conversation after, and you obviously nudged me in the right direction on a number of projects, which I'm very grateful for. And with that, I've got obviously myself, I'm obviously interested in online business and online coaching, but I have a number of listeners and now members within the Corporate Warrior membership who are interested to learn how they can be more effective at selling online, whether that's selling online distance coaching or selling programs. And we'll get into all of that. But can we just start out by understanding a little bit more about you? How did things all start out for you?
Yeah, well, how far back should I go? I guess I was always fairly, funnily enough, different to I am now, but fairly money driven. So I always liked sport and that sort of thing, but realized that I could make a lot more money doing other things. So I guess to cut a long story short, after living in Japan for 6 years, I won a scholarship. So the Japanese government paid me to do an honours degree over there. And I got back to Australia and realised that, using Japanese isn't really going to make me that much money. So I'll go and work for the banks because that's where all the money is. So I destroyed my soul and went and worked in the banks. Started off as a home finance manager and then sort of progressed my way up. I always had a bit of a background with, I was okay at math. And so I ended up becoming a business banker. So my main role was to lend, or I should say not lend, money to businesses because you can probably understand in Australia the banks were very tight. It's very hard for medium-sized businesses to get loans. So I found myself most of the time giving them advice on how to make their business sort of profitable without actually getting a loan because bank loans were sort of hard to come by. Of course, I did lend money, but so I found myself doing that and loved helping businesses, but hated working for a bank. I just felt like I was destroying my soul, I guess, and it just wasn't my passion. And so, like I said, I'd always been into exercise and fitness, and I'd done a fair few yoga teacher training certifications, and I decided to do my equivalent of the NASM, or I'm not sure how you guys pronounce it here, NASM, in Australia, and became, qualified to be a personal trainer. And so did that sort of on the side. And then one day I woke up and I'm just like, I'm not going to work. I just can't do this anymore. I can't sit at a desk. I can't make money for a big bank. I'm making too much money for someone else. So I just started, training people and teaching yoga. And then my next move from there was I moved over to Hong Kong and I lived there for 4 years. I've just recently moved to New York. But the 4 years I was in Hong Kong, I just saw there were so many athletes here and I could just really sort of help them. So I started sort of training athletes and what have you, and then also realized that everyone was into fitness and health, and I saw people sort of smashing themselves doing all this cardio, but no one was really lifting weights and getting strong, especially women. So I started a boot camp, which was effectively introducing a lot of women to kettlebell training. And I wasn't going to charge for it because I didn't really want to do it for the money. And probably within less than 6 months, so it was already a huge business. I just decided to charge a little bit, but it ended up being a 6-figure business in 6 months.
Wow.
Just because it was so much fun and everyone just wanted to do it.
That's amazing. So how did you do that? Like, why was it like, because there's so many questions that come up for me. Like, firstly, how did you know who to target? And then secondly, how come it grew so quickly? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, so I saw a niche. When I say niche, there was a lot of women who loved cardio and just were not getting strong. And so they were getting injured. And they also were asking me, how do you get strong? Like, what do you do? And all this sort of stuff. And I'm just like, lift some weights. So I started, I just offered a few friends to come and do some kettlebell training with me. And then we did it outside. So then other people saw it and other people saw it. And just within that time, the classes booked out. And then I just had to make more and more classes. So I ended up doing like four or five classes a day. And outside, so people saw them, and then realized this is awesome and I love doing this, but at the end of the day, it's more than just exercise. It's the whole holistic health approach. So how else can I help all these clients who are effectively women between the ages of sort of 30 and 55 get not only fit and healthy, but I guess, really sort of concentrating on that health aspect. And that's where I guess I realized that a lot of people were fit, but not so healthy. And then I brought in the nutrition side of things, which obviously made the business grow tenfold. And then obviously the podcast started because I just had this passion to find out more about why people are fit and not healthy and how people can become healthy.
So for you, the podcast is more of a learning tool first and foremost. Is that what you do?
Yeah. So I remember at the time there weren't lots of people doing podcasts, but the podcasts that I were listening to, a few of them said like the way they started was just thinking of one or two people that they wanted to make the podcast for. And I had those people in mind. And I also wanted an excuse to talk to really knowledgeable people and pick their brains.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And so just to take a step back for a second, I'm always curious to ask this question because it's always really, I've been through this process myself to an extent, but when you left banking to go into, to do these kettlebell classes, was it like, did you do the whole, jump out the airplane, build a parachute on your way down approach? Or did you have like a bunch of savings? Or sorry, did you kind of moonlight on the side? Were you kind of doing both and then transitioned over when the income made it possible? Or how did you manage that transition?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. And, some people just say, it doesn't matter about money, just jump off and do whatever. But at the end of the day, if you're not financially stable, then it's not really that comfortable. Yeah. I was in a fortunate position where I started investing when I was quite young. So I think I bought my first house in Sydney when I was 18-ish. So I had plenty of savings, and I didn't really need to earn an income to survive. So I had that. I also had my husband who was earning money. So that, is nothing to sort of snigger about. If you don't have that, then I understand it can be really daunting and really hard. So I was fortunate in that way. However, I always like to be self-sustainable, and I also like to earn a lot of money because it's fun. For me, it's always just been like, how much money can you earn? And it's just an energy flow. So, but I definitely didn't feel like I guess I just saw the opportunity, and it was like people were saying to me, "Oh, can you teach yoga here? Can you teach yoga here? Or can you train me?" I'd sort of walk into places like a garage station and, met this guy, and he'd be like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I do this." I'm like, "What do you do?" And he's like, "Oh, not much." And I'm like, "Well, do you want me to train you?" So I never really found it that hard to get clients either.
Yeah, and you look great as well, so that always helps. If you're in good shape yourself, people, I suppose, are going to ask you, what do you do, and then that can obviously often lead to that type of interaction. Did that work for you as well? Did you find?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, like I've also had some setbacks in terms of I've had a double hip surgery, been in a wheelchair for 8 months. Jesus. I recently, a year ago, had a bike accident. I tore 7 ligaments in my left shoulder. Oh, God. And so, I've had my fair share of excuse. If I wanted to, I could use those as excuses as to why I'm not fit and healthy. But I believe that, you've got to be a picture of health if that's what you're sort of selling.
So absolutely. So that bike accident, was that after we spoke, or was that just before?
It was just before. Yeah. So I think I just had the accident. I still had concussion when we spoke, though. That's probably why it didn't make sense. I actually had concussion for 4 months. My helmet split open when I hit the ground. I was going 50 kilometers an hour. And the guy in front of me stopped. But, everything's relative. I could go to the toilet by myself, unlike after the hip operation. So you've just got to compare things. Although I must say shoulder rehab is tough. It's very hard.
Yeah, nasty. You've been through a lot. So that's really cool how you've been able to build your online business, how it all started. Clearly, you just it sounds like you have a real knack for seeing an opportunity and going for it and finding out what works. And you've also obviously scaled it since. You hinted earlier about, you've developed nutritional programs and stuff like that. Do you want to just kind of quickly run through the kind of services that you provide online? And then I can use that as a platform to then dig a little deeper.
Yeah. So I guess what I realized was I've got all these great clients who I'm sure a lot of your listeners who are entrepreneurs and own their own gyms know that once you have a group of clients that totally trust you, anything that you recommend, as long as you obviously believe in it, they will follow you and take your recommendation. So I felt like I had this great client base who were getting pretty good results from exercise, but I knew that nutrition was the missing factor. And so it wasn't about, how can I make more money? It was about, what do my clients need? And I think that's the difference between, I think that's actually the reason why I have no problem making money, is because I don't actually think about money first, which is funny because it took me a long, long time to actually change that mentality. And like I said, that's why I went into the bank to make money. But now I guess it's not about that at all. And so I thought, well, what's missing? And so obviously nutrition was the first thing. And I had all these clients in front of me, so I didn't need to make it online. It was just like, this is what I'm offering. I became a certified health coach through Primal Blueprint, and they're awesome. And I learned a lot about nutrition through that. I also studied a master's degree in nutrition at an Australian university. So I started helping people through nutrition and designed my own, just ended up putting together a 21-day transformation course based on what I'd learnt and also based on what clients needed. And I kept refining that to the point where I had so many people wanting to do it that I ended up having to offer it online because people were saying, my friend, because obviously in Hong Kong, I was living on an island where there were 33 nationalities. So no one was actually from Hong Kong. And so they were all like, I got so much from this, doing this transformation that my family in Canada want to do it and my blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, well, I have to offer this online. And so that's how sort of the online side of the nutrition came about.
Cool. So you got your first clients mostly via those that you were already providing, the kettlebell classes and other services too, but then had such great results that then you got a whole load of referrals, which then I suppose you drove to the online presence. Is that accurate?
Yeah, exactly. And so I made the most of the clients in front of me, and then through word of mouth actually grew the online. So I didn't actually do any marketing for the first, say, 6 months because I was already booked out. I just wanted to run like 2 a month, and so that I could only really take on 30 clients for each transformation. So I only needed 60 clients, and just through word of mouth was able to get that really easily without even doing any advertising.
Awesome. And you mentioned earlier about how you don't create businesses based on what's going to make money, but based on what people need, which is really key. And I want to underscore that, because if you can become a real expert at solving people's problems and challenges in life, then I think you're going to go quite far as an entrepreneur. Certainly something I've learned recently. And so with that, is that what really inspired specifically a 21-day program? Were they coming to you saying, I need some kind of fat loss intervention that's really rapid, or is that how it worked? Were you getting feedback that then stimulated the creation of that product?
Yeah, so what I've found is that people don't normally know what they need. They know what they want, but they don't necessarily know what they need. In saying that, I did move later towards more of the ask method, Ryan Levesque sort of approach, which I'm sure your listeners know about. And I can go into details about that. But before that, it was really a matter of going, I can see the results that people are getting, but I know that they would be getting better results from what we're doing physically if they were eating better. So I just started talking to my clients. What do you eat? And they ask me as well, what are you eating? How does that make you feel? And I just noticed that especially women of that age, there were obviously hormonal issues. There was just their diet. Like, I knew that if they changed a few things that they would get dramatic results. And so it was sort of really educating them as to why it was important for them to change their diet in order to get the results they wanted.
Awesome. I'm looking at the website now. So you've got a really nice sales page. Is this lead pages out of interest?
Yeah, so I've got some landing pages there. I actually don't really do so much with the Ali Fitness now. I mean, I do take the 21-day program through there. I've also got like an online service that basically I write a program for people and then assess them every sort of 8 weeks. I do offer those through there, but my bigger business now is, I guess, expanded from there. I'm actually I won't reveal the website at the moment because it's being built, but it's essentially I found that I guess I just wanted to follow my mission, which is help as many people as I can get fit and healthy. Mm-hmm. And I can't do that by myself. And I'm sort of limited to doing sort of 2 21-day transformations a month, which is only helping 60 people, which for me is just not enough. And I also met several qualified coaches who are awesome at coaching but have no idea how to get clients. Mm-hmm. So I, especially moving to New York, I found another way that was amazing to get clients, which I can also go into. But as a result of that, I'm inundated with clients. So now I've got 6 coaches on board who do all the coaching for me. And that's why I didn't want to run it through Ali Fitness, because I wanted it to be a brand that was obviously not me.
Yeah, makes sense, because otherwise I guess people are going to be expecting you to coach them and feel a little bit let down when you're not, if they go through that channel specifically. Perhaps. Exactly,
and it's a very hard transition to make. Mm-hmm. Apart from, the ego wanting to be, what it may potentially wanting it to be all about you, but realizing that to reach more people and to really, I guess, reach my mission, I had to expand. And I love also helping other coaches. And so from that, I now actually coach a lot of coaches in how to build their own online business, as well as gym owners, because I moved to New York and I got into adults gymnastics. And now I run an adults gym in Manhattan with two business partners who are absolutely amazing gymnast coaches, trainers, and I sort of complemented them with the business side of things, as well as obviously being involved with gymnastics myself. So I've really got to see sort of the bricks and mortar issues and was able to help them sort of overcome a lot of the revenue issues. And as you can imagine, Manhattan rent's not cheap. So you need to really make a lot of money from the clients that you currently have, plus grow your business. So that's where I guess my social media, marketing, funneling, landing pages, all of that sort of stuff came into play, because you can't rely on word of mouth.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. So I appreciate this is perhaps becoming less important for you going forward, but just as a reference point, I'm looking at the online personal training sales page. It's really, really nice. You've got a great video at the top. You look ripped, by the way. And you got obviously your training program, nutrition guidance, coaching support, and then lots of great images. I would like to kind of explore this a little bit, because I know a number of people listening, are, as I said, running bricks and mortar businesses, but want to add a revenue stream in the way of online personal training or online programs. So let's talk about that for a second. So if you're addressing an entrepreneur who wants to do that, like what would be your advice in terms of thinking about how to go about creating that type of service?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Lawrence. And I guess I get that a lot, because a lot of coaches or business owners, like gym owners, come to me and they say, we need to make more money, and we think we should offer online services. And the first thing I say to them is, why? Because often, and not always, but often people are in this line of business because they love being with people. And so I question, is an online business really what you want it to offer? Because online is very different to in-person. And then I also wonder whether who's your market for the online business that you're about to offer? Because if you think it's the clients, let's say, for example, a coach comes to me, or a business owner who owns a bricks and mortar gym, and says, we think we should offer online coaching. I'd be like, well, why would your clients buy online coaching when they're coming to you because they want to be with you and see you? So that's the first question I ask. Mm-hmm. And then, so often they're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. The other thing is that a lot of people think, oh, I'm just going to run an online business because that makes a lot of money. And it's like a lot of people think, as soon as I build my website, I'll get lots of traffic. I'm like, well, you could have the best website in the world, but if people don't know about your website, no one's ever going to go to your website. And it's the same with online training. So I guess the first thing is to really ask yourself why, and who's your market, and also why do people want that product anyway, and how do you even know they do? And that's where I guess that ask method comes into play. It's about asking your clients what they actually want. I learned a good example of that recently. I went to PaleoFX, and I'm sure your listeners probably know Joseph McCullough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's got, I think, probably the biggest online business in the industry. He sells health products, soaps, and that sort of thing. I'm sure you all know, but he made a really interesting point. So he was testing what emails worked really well. So in the header of the email, he had something like, get 60 days worth of free, I'm just making this up, but 60 days worth of free products if you sign up here, or something like that. And then the other heading was like, if you buy one of these, you can go in the competition to win this. I mean, I'm just making those up totally. And he said to everyone, which one do you think's better, the first one or the second one? And everyone put up their hand for the first one, and then and the other people put up their hand for the second one, and it ended up being like 60-40. And he said, well, guess what? It doesn't matter what you think. It's what your clients think. And I thought that was a really good lesson, because so often we go, oh, what do we think? And we're not our clients. So ask. And it seems such a simple thing. So ask your clients what they need, not by saying, what do you need? But here's an example of how, and I'm no expert with marketing, absolutely no expert at all. And I guess that brings me to my next point. I don't do much. I'm quite lazy, and I outsource everything. So I get the experts in the field to teach me and to do things for me. So I've learned this all by just researching and working with professionals who are experts in this area, and that's how I get it done. So I don't do it myself, nor do I have any idea really how to do it, except I know who to ask and what to ask. And so the ask method, for example, where I use that now is in expanding my product. I'll go out, say for example, I want to know, like, for coaches, so say for nutrition coaches, I want to know what do they really need? Like what's the missing piece? So if I'm thinking, oh, maybe I need to offer a service to nutrition coaches that is something along the lines of, I can help them get clients. So I need to propose a question to them, like, and it might be, what's your biggest pain point in coaching clients or in getting clients, or something like that, that then really finds out what they actually need help with.
Yeah. So yeah, I totally understand that. And it's the same as they should be doing with their own clients, asking those types of questions. This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, ARX. Are you looking to create a cutting-edge, high-intensity training facility? Are you confused on what equipment to use or how to separate yourself from the masses? Well, then ARX Fit might be the answer you're looking for. I asked Mike Polano from ARX a few questions about how ARX machines are challenging the status quo of the exercise industry around the globe. Mike, if you could, give the listeners a quick summary of why ARX is so different from the traditional machines or tools they're used to seeing in most exercise facilities.
ARX is totally different than anything you've seen before. This isn't just another weight stack machine. We've looked at the last 40 years of exercise technology and used that knowledge to create something entirely new. ARX uses a new form of resistance, a motor, and we pair that motor with computer software so that we can maximize the safety, effectiveness, and efficiency of your workouts. So you may be asking, okay, but how does ARX compare to weights? Traditional machines you see in gyms today are based on lifting metal weights and battling gravity. What people don't realize is that when you're forced to lift a static weight like this, one that doesn't adapt or change while you use it, you're underloading yourself rep after rep. And this unnecessarily limits your ability to make improvements. With ARX, we've taken a totally different approach. We removed weights and gravity from the equation altogether. Instead, ARX combines our patented motorized resistance with our custom computer software to provide you with the world's safest, most effective, and most quantified form of resistance training ever. When you train with ARX, you are training to your perfect level of resistance, both positively and negatively 100% of the time. No more guessing what weight to use. ARX does all of that for you, instantly and automatically. We'll also track and measure every second of every rep, so you can quantify all of your workouts to find out if you're improving and by exactly how much. Whether your goals are bigger muscles, increased strength, stronger bones, or just to look good in a bathing suit, ARX can help you achieve all of these and more, but do so in a fraction of the time it would take compared to traditional equipment. If you're looking for the most efficient, most effective, and most quantified piece of exercise equipment on the market today, then look no further than ARX.
Thanks, Mike. That all sounds really impressive. If you'd like to learn more about ARX, visit arxfit.com and mention that you heard about ARX on the Corporate Warrior podcast to receive an exclusive deal of $500 off shipping and installation off your ARX machines. So you're almost, it's almost like you're saying, you know, if someone has got a gym and then they've gone, right, I'm going to create an online product, I'm going to create a strength training program that someone can do at home, that's like a downloadable video course or whatever, that is the complete wrong thing to do unless you have pre-validated by asking your existing clients whether or not that's something they would be interested in.
Yeah, and the other thing is here, sometimes people say they're interested, but then when it comes down to it, they don't buy it.
Yes.
So I tested this theory by, as soon as I found out I was leaving Hong Kong, I knew that I didn't want to lose my clients. So I decided that they all love the boot camps. What I would do is I'd get a professional videographer to come over and I'd make 15 or so videos of the boot camps. So like 1 hour boot camps. And I'd also make some yoga stuff, yoga videos, and I'd make some TRX videos, and I'd make a whole training library. And I thought, well, hang on, actually, before I spend what was going to be about $15,000 to do this properly, why don't I see if my clients actually want this? And then I thought, well, hang on, even better still, why don't I get them to buy it and pay for it before I make it so that I really do know that they want it? Because I was afraid that if they all agreed to buying it and then didn't buy it, I would have made this product that potentially doesn't have a niche. So what I did was I put out a message to all my clients and I said, I actually need to know the answer. I actually put my account details in and said, I'm offering this amazing total training library. I'm going to get it made before I leave. I'm flying my videographer from Australia on Monday if 50 people buy this by Monday, and that was on Thursday. I really want to make it, but I just want to make sure that everyone, wants it. Now, it's going to be X amount per month, but if you put I think it was something like, I made quite a good price. It was like $500, maybe US dollars. If you put $500 into the account to show me that you want it, I can make this happen, but I just need 50 people to buy it because I wanted to at least sort of cover the costs. And then from there, obviously, anyone else that I sold it to, then I would make money. And I think it was by Friday night, there was already 50 people had already paid.
Oh, wow.
And so I then knew, okay, yeah, this is worth making. And it's not always that easy. And I, to be honest, I didn't think it would actually be that easy, but I did know that my clients were very loyal and didn't want me to leave. And so I think that's a really good way to test the market.
That's so interesting. Was that just an email that you sent them, or did you send them to a sales page? Like, what specifically did they see?
Yeah, so in that case, I could have done an amazing sales page and landing page, but because I had literally, I could ring any of these clients and have a conversation over the phone. I had all their phone numbers and everything else. I actually just sent out a WhatsApp message. I don't even know if you guys use WhatsApp. It doesn't seem to be that popular in the US, but I had everyone on my list, on the WhatsApp list for the classes. Mm-hmm. So I actually only offered it to people that were coming to the classes. because I knew they would like the product. I could have expanded it and offered it to my nutrition clients and whatever else. But all I really wanted to do was get an indication. Actually, all I wanted to do was break even before I committed to doing it.
Yeah.
So I could have gone that extra leap. But now if you go onto my website, you'll see there's a Total Training Library landing page, and people can now go on and sign up for the month or the year or whatever they like.
And does that still sell well?
It does. And funnily enough, it doesn't. It actually sells to people who I don't even know. So it's not just that limited client base now. But once again, to be honest, I didn't actually even make it to make money. The reason I actually made it was that I felt really bad that I was leaving all my clients behind, and sort of almost felt like I was betraying them, and wanted to give them something to leave so that they could keep training, so that when I go back to visit, they'll be fit enough to do a class with me.
And that's probably resulted in you creating a great product because you care so much about the actual customer. I think this is so simple, but yet so underappreciated.
Yeah, I also think too that there's also a trust there. Like, so I could have made a fairly cheap video, especially once all these people had already paid. But instead, I got a real professional from Australia who I know was high level to come out and make absolutely amazing videos, and spent 6 hours editing each one.
Wow. Yeah, that's well, it seems like it's paid off, and I'm sure your clients back home and those that have purchased since are very happy with it. And it looks great. I'm looking at the sales page now, and obviously I'll put all these links in the blog post for the listeners to see what I'm talking about. But yeah, so this. Let's just kind of summarize that then. So I think, based on what you said there, it's really important. It sounds like it's really important that before anyone goes out to actually create their, assuming they want, because let's be honest, most people who want to create some kind of online business is because they're trying to have more leverage and have more mobility. They don't just want to train people one-on-one all the time. They want to maybe have some diversity, some flexibility, and have hedge their bets maybe and have an alternative revenue stream. Who knows what the agenda is. And so assuming that they want to create some kind of online product or service, then before they do anything, the first thing to do would be to use perhaps a Ryan Levesque Ask method, which I know of, but I'm not very familiar with the actual method. But I'll put a link in the show notes for people to explore that further. But the way I understand that to work is you ask a series of questions to really understand your clients' or prospects' pain points and challenges, and so that you can figure out exactly what it is that they actually need in terms of a product or service. So really, you're saying one should do that exercise first with their clients before actually creating anything.
Well, I guess there's no should, and you learn by your mistakes as well. But I do think that a lot of us get caught up in this sort of world of, I know I could make the best videos. Like for myself, like I know that I could make these classes that are a mixture of like gymnastics, strength training, like movement, like say animal movements, and a bit of yoga thrown in, and like make an hour session with some like hip mobility, and that would just be awesome, that everyone I know would benefit from doing. But and so I get caught up in thinking, okay, this is the best product. And to me, I think, that would be the best product. But you get caught up in thinking, oh, this is the best product, but there's a bit more to it than that. The other thing is, okay, maybe it is the best product, but how do you firstly know that other people are going to agree with you? How do you then, even if it is the best product, if people don't know about it, how do you then sell it? And so that, I guess, goes to the next question is how are you going to market and sell it? If it's just to your current client base, then obviously that's going to be much easier. And I think it's a great idea to explore options. And I'm definitely not saying don't go online. Yeah, absolutely. If you can make money while you sleep, then that's definitely the ideal. I do also think that a lot of gyms are really missing an opportunity to, they're not really making the most of their clients. So their clients obviously have a huge amount of trust in them. They're spending a monthly gym fee or a personal training fee, and they spend a lot of time with these people. So they obviously trust you. So what else can you offer your client? Something that they need that's going to get them better results. And it may be online training, but then are you already potentially helping them with that by in-person training? Or can you perhaps alter your product a bit to make it a bit more effective? So that's where I guess I started offering online. So if you go into my website, you'll see there's online personal training, but it's actually not much in the way of work. So you'll have a consult, you'll design a program, and you'll check in. But it's a lot more efficient in terms of you're not expected to be somewhere by the hour, every hour. So in that respect, I think you could change your product to fit that sort of model. And the other big missing thing that I find is that people don't look outside the box so much to see, well, hang on, my client trusts me. They're going to buy anything I recommend. What is it that they need? And I guess that's where I've helped grow the revenue quite significantly in the gymnastics gym that I offer, because in the gymnastics gym that I'm now part of, I noticed that obviously nutrition, they didn't have that sort of nutrition side of it. So I brought in my health and nutrition packages. But then also beyond that, and especially after people do the 21 days, they still have sort of issues. Then they need, like biomarker testing. So I teamed up with a company in Hong Kong, and I now offer biomarker testing kits to all my clients. And so they can just do the test at home, bring it in. And it's a great way to make money from your clients, but also knowing that this is actually going to help your clients get better results in performance or health. So it's adding those little products on that really makes a difference to your bottom line. And then obviously coming hand in hand is supplements, and doing, a lot of research around supplements, and I guess having a bit of a background in that area too. I felt that was something else that the gym could offer to, once again, help make more money from the clients that you have without even thinking about how you can expand your client base.
Yeah. That's it's far easier to sell to an existing customer than acquire a new one, right?
Exactly.
So, so much has come up, and I'm starting to forget some of the questions that come up for me as you were talking, because I'm trying to be present and hear everything you have to say, Ali. But you've got, I think the other thing as well is a lot of people, certainly in the high intensity training, sort of strength training industry, who are running gyms, they may not be so savvy with the online stuff. I've noticed there's a few websites that could certainly do with an update, probably me included. Your website is obviously pretty slick. Your sales pages are really effective and clear. How did you go about learning how to do all that?
Yeah, so like I said, I am really lazy, and also I hate computers. And I'm really good at telling other people what to do. And I think really that's the key. So you own a gym, chances are you're a professional trainer, or you're really into exercise and you know everything you can know about that. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're good at designing a website or building a website or making landing pages, or even understanding the best way to use social media to market your product. And I realized quickly that that's not my forte, nor am I really interested in it either. In saying that, I have become interested in it because I can see the power of it, and I've also seen how it works. But what I did is I actually interviewed lots of different marketing companies and website builders, and decided to use professionals to do everything for me. So albeit I had a massive role to play in that, because it's all about your own voice and your own strategy and whatever else. So it's about communicating with that brand strategist, that website designer. But at the end of the day, they're the experts, and leave it to them.
Yeah, I think this is a really good point you make, because you're right. A number of my listeners who might be venturing off to start a secondary business in this online, they probably do. Well, you'd like to think they have a good, good revenue stream through their primary training business. And yeah, you're absolutely 100% right. Like, it definitely, if you're in that position, definitely makes sense to hire people who have the skills and the interest that you don't, to help get this stuff off the ground faster. I mean, I came from a place where I didn't have the gym, so I was doing all the online stuff myself and didn't have the resources to actually hire. I have made some exceptions that I have hired help in the past, but because I don't have that big business behind me, I've had to learn a lot of the stuff myself. And I can say, from experience, that it takes a lot of time and there's a lot of frustration. If you're trying to be a master at all of it, it really is hard. And it's not.
Yeah,
not
it is.
advisable.
And I guess I actually did it slightly different to that. So I was in the same position to you. I didn't actually have a lot of money initially to put into it. So what I did was, I guess, the minimal viable product idea, and thought, okay, so what is it that I really am trying to sell here? You go to most people's websites and you can't even tell what they're actually selling. And I mean, actually, my current Alley Fitness website is a good example of that. It's actually not that good, because it doesn't lead you to the product that I'm trying to sell. And I guess the reason for that is I'm not really trying to sell anything on my website. The website that I'm working on at the moment will look very different to that. But my point being that you don't have to build everything. You just need to build a landing page. You don't even need a website. You just need a landing page that goes to the product that you're trying to sell initially, and a good funneling system for that. And then back to your point, you did your own research and you basically built it yourself. Well, actually, initially I worked with a professional who didn't charge me to do it because I actually did it myself, but they train you to do it yourself. So they teach you how to build your own website. So actually I built that Alley Fitness website. It's quite basic. It really is a basic site. And I'm really not very tech savvy at all. I really don't like it. And so I did that through being basically taught from an expert how to build your own website and what things you should. And it's not just about building a website. It's about what's your strategy, what's your mission, what are you even doing this for? It's looking deeper into that. And so I think it really comes down to budget and all of that sort of thing. But once again, how committed are you? Where do you want to play? Do you want to stay at pre-K and hang out with the small kids, or do you want to really dive into this and make it a proper business rather than a hobby?
And it sounds like you've invested in yourself quite a lot. I'm getting that. That's what it sounds like in terms of, you want to learn something, you're willing to pay an expert or buy a course to help you learn what you need to do in order to take your business to the next level. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So I'm building a site at the moment. This is the one, the transformation where I'm actually getting other coaches to run the course. Mm-hmm. So to give you an idea of like money, I'm spending about $20,000 with a marketing strategist who will put together the basic site. In actual fact, it'll just be a landing page to start with. And where the money is really going is, first of all, like having a really nice logo, a really good voice, a really good image. And then it's all about, well, who are your clients? Who do you want to, who are you targeting toward? And then how do you get people to buy your product? What's your end product? And so, for example, in my case, it'll be the 21-day transformation. Now, that product is not going to be bought by someone that doesn't know you. They're not just going to come across the product, or I shouldn't say that because it has happened that people have bought it, but that's where I guess people get to know you through your podcast and that sort of thing. But chances are you need to have, there's different numbers out there, but say 6 touch points with the client before they'll actually buy your product. So what are you giving to them? So what's the funnel, in other words? So it might be you give them a free 5-day action plan where that's a little taste of what they're going to use to get them closer to, say, losing weight or whatever it is that you're offering. So it's about building that funnel. So then once they've got a free item, maybe the next thing would be to offer them something like a smaller price point product. It might be like a 7-day challenge or something like that. And so you're slowly building up trust. You're giving really high quality products, some of them even free. So of course they're going to buy your next product because they know they've already got results from the free products. Mm-hmm. And so it's about building that, what they call funnel. Like I said, I'm no expert in this, but I've just learned that that's actually the way to do it.
Yeah, I've obviously I've heard of. I think they call that the ascension model in the internet marketing world. But the only thing I would say on that, and I would challenge you on that, is I've heard. I'm actually being coached by James Schramko, who you might be familiar with, Ali, over at superfastbusiness.com.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, and he's just exceptional, and he's really been instrumental in helping me build the membership which I've created, and made sure that I know what I'm doing there. And he's not a fan of the ascension model because he doesn't believe that if someone who has consumed your content is ready to buy a certain service, that you should hold that back. And maybe that's not what you're saying, but what he finds is a lot of people that follow the ascension model where they won't sell that, $1,000 or $5,000 big ticket item until they've sold this $25 ebook and a $100 course and so on. And he believes you should funnel people in a way so that you filter them by giving them, signposts. So, if he has a homepage where he has different pain points and challenges, but depending on whether if people click them, they then have an income bracket they can click, like a business income bracket, and then he can filter that person so to give them exactly to pitch them the service and offer them what they need, as opposed to running them through an arbitrary ascension model in a way when they might be already too far up the stack. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's actually cool. That sounds like a really good model because essentially it's saying, who are you? Where do you fit? Are you this person? Are you this person? And you can actually use that with this funneling as well.
Yeah.
So like the example would be, do you find it hard to lose weight because you're not accountable? Or do you find it hard to lose weight because you're not prepared or whatever? And so then you effectively give them a product that suits what their pain point is.
That's great.
Which I think sounds really good. I'm not familiar with James's work, but I have heard of Superfast, and I don't sort of think there's one way to skin a cat. I think there's several ways, and I actually think you should test different ways. And so I'm actually testing different ways through in different businesses that I run. So in the gym model with the gymnastics training, we actually know for 100% fact that we turn anyone that comes into our gym into clients because the product sells itself, or our trainers, our coaches are such high level that there's no way that someone won't sign up. So we offer, say, for example, there's no mucking around there. It's like come in for a free consult and or a free assessment or whatever it might be, or come in for 3 classes for the price of one. Something that's a no-brainer that you definitely, 3 classes for the price of 1, of course you'll come into that. And then once you've experienced that class, unless like you just, I don't know, don't like exercise or whatever, and maybe it's not for you, but my point is that the product then sells itself. And so I really believe that there's no one size fits all. It's just like in the same way that you wouldn't just go, okay, well, I'm just going to run a podcast and that's the only way that I'm going to target my clients. I'm not going to do Facebook advertising. I'm not going to do Instagram advertising. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think do everything. But of course you've got your main sort of strategies and you've done your research around, you know, what's potentially, when I say do everything, I should be careful of that. I don't think you should go out and do every type of social media marketing there is. But I do think that you should be open to explore different avenues. And I would say, you know, that James's technique obviously works because he's getting people to do it and they're getting clients. Mm-hmm. And I would also say that the Ask Method also works because there's proof in the pudding. You know, and I'd say there's probably 100 other techniques out there that work. I think to me, it reminds me of diets. Most diets, 1, they're the same, and 2, they're effective. Why is that?
Yeah. Is that a question?
Because, yeah, so, I mean, most diets are quite dogmatic, right? So they're quite strict. And so, of course, they're going to be effective. It doesn't matter which one you choose. If you follow it, it's going to be better than your American diet that you have at the moment.
Yeah, I completely agree. And sorry to cut you off, Ali. Sorry, I think you were taking a breath to continue there. I got a big excited.
No, that's really all I was going to say. And that you know, it's more the fact that you've actually got a plan than you're just going willy-nilly across all the different plans and getting nowhere. So I guess my point is if you go paleo or if you go vegan, and let's say, for example, you want to lose weight and you chose one of those 2 options, you'd probably lose weight on either of them, especially if you're comparing it to a SAD diet, the standard American diet. But if you tried to go a combo of that plus a combo of another one, you're probably not going to lose weight because it's probably just going to end up being all too confusing and you're not going to have a strategy or a plan. And I think so that really what you need is to work with a professional that has a strategy or a plan. And even if it's like a business coach, I mean, for all your listeners know the importance of having a personal trainer. So in the same way, you need to have a business coach.
Yeah, well said. And it's something I had someone say the other day is, you know, I think it's important to have a coach or I'm trying to avoid the word guru, but maybe it is important to have a guru. I mean, the problem is there's so many gurus out there or coaches out there that it can be difficult. I can appreciate why it can be difficult for people to discern good from bad, because there are obviously a lot of crap coaches out there too, or people that aren't, you know, good people or just not effective at coaching, full stop. You know, with James, for instance, I talked to a friend of mine who had been coached by him and has been quite successful, and I got his opinion before I invested in James and his service. And I did my research, you know, and I'm so glad that I invested. I'm not trying to sit here and sell James's service, but I'm just trying to sell the value of investing in a good coach, because it's so worthwhile, because it just fast tracks your learning. You can ask questions and figure things out as you go, and have a mentor. And I haven't had that before now. Well, I have in piecemeal through, I guess, the various online resources, but it just gets so confusing, as you're saying. Like, there's so many conflicting pieces of information out there that it can get so overwhelming. So I do think it's a great investment for people to think about.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't really get overwhelming if you're with the right coach. And when I say the right coach, I mean someone that you can really resonate with. And I guarantee you that coach will save you more money in the first conversation that you have with them that will cover the costs of all the coaching going forward. And it might be just an emotional conversation that they have. It might be, you know, something will, your gut feeling will tell you whether it's the right coach for you. And so, and someone that's right for you might not be right for me as well. And so that's where I think absolutely do your research, but also talk to the coach, ask them for a free consult. And that's where, I would say to you that if you're really serious about getting a good coach, insist on talking to them and just take your mind out of it and go with, how does your heart feel with that person?
Yeah, I love that. Great advice. Ali, this has been a lot of fun, and I think you've shared some really, really important and useful information that listeners can take away when considering, selling products and services online and starting new ventures in general. I think you've got some really sound principles that you've shared, so I really appreciate that. What's the best way for the listeners to find out more about you and what you're up to?
Come and play with me in New York. So I live in Manhattan. I've got a really nice apartment, and come and play. Come to gymnastic strength training with us. So we've got a gym called Transform GST. You can check that out and come and train with us. And in terms of coaching, I'm doing a fair bit of coaching now, and I do take on new clients if I feel like I'm the right person for them, and vice versa. So I'd be happy to offer any of your clients or listeners, I should say, a free consult. So maybe 15 to 30-minute consult if they want to send me an email and let me know that they listen to your podcast and they're keen for a chat. And look, to be honest, I definitely don't do it for the money either. So I just do it for the passion. So if I don't think it's the right fit, or if I don't think I can help you, but I know of someone that might be able to, then I'll definitely put you in the right direction anyway. So feel free to pass my email address on, which is just Ali, ALI, @ali.fitness. And I hope to help any of your guys grow their brick and mortar business into online businesses or whatever else they want to do.
That's awesome. Cool. Ali, thank you for saying that. And all of that will be obviously in the show notes for the listeners. And to find the show notes and blog posts for this episode, please go to corporatewarrior.co/Ali Fitness. And to find the blog post for all episodes, please go to corporatewarrior.co/podcast. And until next time, guys, thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. Before you head off, head on over to corporatewarrior.co/ebook to get your free high-intensity training Google Sheet to track your training progress. And get my ebook with 20 interview transcripts with some of my top guests, including Dr. Doug McGuff, Drew Bay, and Bill Day Simone on how to optimize muscle gain, fat loss, and overall health in an efficient, effective, and sustainable way. Head on over to corporatewarrior.co/ebook now and enter your email address for instant access. This episode is brought to you by ARX, the most innovative, efficient, and effective all-in-one exercise machines I have ever seen. I was really impressed with my ARX workout. The intensity and adaptive resistance was unlike anything I've ever experienced. I love how the machine enables you to increase the negative load to fatigue target muscles more quickly, and I love how the workouts are effortlessly quantified. The software tracks maximum force output, rate of work, total amount of work done, and more in front of you on screen, allowing you to compete with your previous performance to give you and your clients real-time motivation. The ARX uses a computer-controlled motor to give you the exact amount of resistance your clients need 100% of the time. This means that the resistance can never become dangerous, is intuitive and simple to use, and can provide you with all of the results you and your clients are looking for in a fraction of the time. ARX is highly effective and efficient in delivering all of the benefits of exercise, including increased strength, muscle mass, cardiovascular conditioning, bone mineral density, and injury recovery. As well as being utilized by many high-intensity trainers to deliver highly effective and efficient workouts to their clients, ARX comes highly recommended by world-class trainers and brands, including Bulletproof, Tony Robbins, and Ben Greenfield Fitness. To find out more about ARX and get $500 off install when you place an order, please go to arxfit.com and mention Corporate Warrior in the How Did You Hear About Us field.
So again, to get $500 off install when you order, head on over to arxfit.com and enter Corporate Warrior in the How Did He Hear About Us field.